So, the G1 Retro line continues this year, and for the 40th anniversary of Transformers, they bring us the G1 Soundwave done in the animation colors, which, as a Soundwave fan, I'm quite happy to have. So today, we take a look at the Transformers Retro 40th anniversary Soundwave. Starting off in cassette player mode, Soundwave turns into the cassette player he was in the G1 show, and thus every toy that's made of him is this. And thus every toy made of Soundwave from then on is this specific cassette recorder, which I quite like. I like all the little details it has. Now sure, this is a bit bland compared to the original G1 Soundwave toy because this hasn't got all the sticker detailing, but this is trying to be animation accurate and not toy accurate, which I get. I do like how a Soundwave toy looks, as it's one of the best ones, but just coming from the animation version of Soundwave, it looks really good. I like that they captured the left and right direction of the speakers. I think they're speakers at least for Soundwave, and they've got all these little linings up here. I love the play button. Now it does make me a bit sad that this isn't actually pressable like the Masterpiece, but I do get it. This thing came from the 80s where those gimmicks weren't really a thing, so I can give it a pass. At least it does have the classic Soundwave tape opening gimmick where you can put tapes inside it, but we'll talk about that later. Something I've really noticed about this Soundwave that a lot of modern Soundwaves don't really have is how thin he actually is. As in the show, he was actually a thin cassette player, but every Soundwave I've seen done in modern days tries to thicken this out for some reason. Like sure, the Earthrise one was a bit slimmer than this, but it still had that chunky factor to it, and the Masterpiece also has that chunky factor, so having a Soundwave that's just a slim little cassette recorder is quite nice. I love that the little side buttons are usable, like this little slider on the side can move up and down, and then the volume knob is real. I like that quite a bit. And I also love the choice of color they chose for the border, for the window. Like, sure, I'd rather it be the gold that Soundwave has, but this animation accurate yellow looks really good. That can't help but love it. Because it's hard to get good looking pictures of a cassette player, we'll just go into transformation. So transformation on Soundwave is really fun. It's really enjoyable. I can flip back and forth between it. My favorite part of the transformation has got to be sliding out the batteries to put his like shoulder cannon on. I don't know what it is. That's just one of my favorite parts about it. And I like that the arms just slide out instead of like fold around. It feels natural. And the head folding up and around, I like quite a bit. But also having the little cassettes as well that can transform is really nice as well. We'll get into them a bit later though. Here we are in robot mode, and Soundwave looks amazing. He looks really well done. I love how the toy here looks. It helps that Soundwave is one of the better toys from G1. But starting off, we'll go up to his head. So starting off, his head looks amazing. Now, I never understood why the toy looks so weird with his head sculpt. But seeing it all here perfect with it all colored in, I realized the thing about Soundwaves I don't like is when they've got yellow eyes. So seeing a red-eyed version of toy Soundwave makes me so happy. I like him so much. And something I've noticed about Soundwave is his head here kind of has like a little beak motif. I don't really know if that's what you call it, but it kind of looks like he's got a little mouth that looks like a beak. But that could have been something that the Siege was emulating with its little side detailings on the faceplate, because that is kind of what it reminds me of here. So it's quite nice. Now, I love the shade of silver they chose for his faceplate. It looks really nice. Everything about it just looks good. But now moving down to the chest, Soundwave is a wide boy in the chest, and it's to fit in the cassettes, which I'm not gonna say I don't like it being this wide, but it does feel a bit unnatural, as this is the same chest width that the Masterpiece has, and because of the Masterpiece having more chunk around it, it looks more natural. But since this is the way it is, it looks a bit too wide, but it's completely fine. It looks really good. I love how the arms look here on the side. It looks just like it did in the show, and I suppose as it looked on the toy. It's just missing some of the toy detailings on the shoulder, which I do kind of wish they put on, as the shoulder does look a bit bland here. But otherwise, it looks fine. I love all the little detailings that are sculpted into the arms. Like these little round parts here and these little notches down. And I like that they include the red ring around his wrist. But moving down to his legs, they look really good. They're really chunky and stable. And if I'm not wrong, I do believe that these feet are die cast, so that's where the weight of the figure is coming from. Now, I don't normally like die cast in figures as it's fake weight, but here it feels fine as it's a toy from the 80s. So, it's kind of what they had back then. But it looks really good. I love the shins, how they're just the plain grey parts. I like that they've got these little painted details down here. At least I think they're painted. They kind of feel like stickers when I run my finger over it. But that's something that you'd never notice unless you're looking for it. And I quite like how it looks. And I like how chunky his side parts are. It gives him this real size, I'd say. Like he's got beefy legs. He just looks really nice. So altogether, Soundwave here is a really nice looking figure. Posability wise, Soundwave actually has quite a bit of posability for a G1 toy. Starting off, you got a swivel at the head. The gun can also rotate. Arms pull a full 360 around and can butterfly back. The elbows pull a 90. There's thigh swivel. Knees go forward. You can kind of bend the legs forward if you do it out to the side, but otherwise you can't do it anywhere else. And toes can go up. Accessory wise, Soundwave comes with quite a few accessories. Starting off, you get a shoulder cannon, which can swivel on its rotation. And he comes with his battery gun thing, which can collapse into a battery, and then it can extend out into his gun when you put the tip on. It looks really good. I like how it looks. And it is the basis for all of Soundwave's other guns. And you also get two cassettes, one being Laserbeak and one being Ravage, which look really good in cassette mode as they can just live in his chest, or you can transform them into their animal forms and they look really good. But we'll keep talking about the cassette mode real quick. I like all these little details they have on them to emulate the cassette mode, but if you turn them around, it does break it up a bit. But transformation on them is quite easy, as Laserbeak is just the basic blueprint for all Laserbeaks. Wings fold out, head comes out, legs fold down, that the Masterpiece also did. Ravage is a little more complex, as it's a lot more folding things, but by the end of it, you get two really good looking cassettes. Now, robot mode on these two look really good. I like how Laserbeak looks, and sure, they do take a bit of parts for me to complete, but they look really nice. Laserbeak's head looks really good, looks just like a bird. It's a little chunky than what I'm used to, but it looks really good, and I like his yellow eyes. I love how wide his wings can go out, looks really good. And he just looks really good as a bird. Now, Ravage, on the other hand, is a bit flat. He's more of a pancake, but that's fine. Now, the only real issue I have with these two is the fact that Ravage doesn't like standing because of how flat he is. But if I take my time and position him right, he can stand up quite straight. But hey, Soundwave looks so good in robot mode that I just had to take some pictures, so here they are. This has been the review for the Transformers 40th Anniversary Retro G1 Soundwave. Tell me, what do you think of this figure? Did you pick him up? Do you like him? Or do you skip him entirely? Or do you have the original Soundwave? Personally, I'm so happy I picked up this Soundwave, as I'd been missing a G1 Soundwave from my collection for a long time, so I'm so happy I picked him up and it's so fun. But tell me, what do you think? Thanks for watching.